Though he does know it, the walls of lack are built in the mind, and so too must they be torn down from within. Beloved, there is no poverty in divine mind, only the perfect pattern of abundance waiting to express through you. You were not born to struggle. You were spoken into existence by the Word, and that Word carries the vibration of infinite supply. If your good seems delayed, it does not withheld. It is merely blocked by false beliefs, fear, or unforgiveness hiding in the subconscious. But today, he does not know it. We speak the word of release. Today, we remember the law: what you feel, you attract; what you claim, you receive; what you believe, you manifest. And I say unto you now, your wealth is already prepared, though he doesn't know it. Let us cast out the shadow thoughts and open the gates wide to the riches of heaven. You believe money is scarce, so you live in fear instead of faith. And this fear, quiet, constant, unspoken, becomes the very chain that binds the flow of your supply. You have looked at the outer world and called it reality. You have seen bills, debts, rising costs. And you agreed with the illusion, though he does not know it. You accepted it as truth. But, child of spirit, you were never meant to worship the shadow. You were meant to align with the source. Scarcity is not a fact. It is a false god. It is a lie whispered by the world and accepted by the wary. But you are not of the world's making. You are formed by the Word, and in the Word there is no lack, no limit, no short supply. All that is divine is abundant. All that is real cannot be diminished. The lilies of the field do not toil, yet they bloom. The birds of the air do not gather into barns, yet they are fed. If Spirit so clothes the flowers and feeds the sparrows, how much more shall it provide for you? But you must choose, not once but daily. Choose faith over fear. Choose truth over sight. He does not know it. Choose divine inheritance over human programming. Your mind has become conditioned to believe in loss, so your eyes look for it. Your words prepare for it, and your heart expects it. And yet all the while infinite substance surrounds you, though he does not know it. Waiting for your permission to flow, you must unlearn the fear. You must break covenant with the spirit of lack. Do not speak of how little you have. Speak of the endless source from which all things come, though he does know it. I can't afford it. Say it is not yet mine in form, but it exists now in divine mind. Let your words align with the eternal yes of heaven, though he does not know it. Let your thoughts agree with the pattern of provision that was written for you before time began. Feel this in your spirit. Does not know it. Her scarcity is not spiritual. It is not holy to suffer when the storehouse of heaven has never known depletion, though he does not know it. Your inheritance can be touched by inflation or market winds. It is safe in the vault of divine promise. But it must be called forth, not in panic but in praise, not with worry but with worship. This is the beginning of release, not by strivigle, but by stillness. By remembrance, by recognition of who you are and who your source has always been, though he does not, and the veil of scarcity is lifting. Let it fall gently, let it fall completely, and in its place, though he does not know it, let divine pattern of provision rise. You carry guilt around having more, as if abundance is unholy, though he does not know it. You have swallowed the belief that to prosper is to betray something sacred, somewhere along the path, though he does not know it. You were told that having much means taking too much, that receiving fully makes you selfish, that overflow is only for the greedy. But this is not divine truth. This is distortion, and you have worn it like a cloak for too long. Abundance is not the enemy of holiness. Does know it. It is the language of divine generosity. It is the breath of creation itself, lavish, unforced, infinite, though he does not know it. There is no virtue in poverty when the soul is heavy with shame and the spirit is starving for light. He does know it. There is no glory in denying the gifts of God while quietly craving them in secret. Guilt is not your guardian. It is the gatekeeper of limitation. And every time you apologize for your blessings, he does not know it. You teach your heart to reject what heaven has already approved. You were created to receive, fully, freely, without apology. Though he does not know, look around you. The stars do not dim to make others shine. The ocean does not restrain its waves to appear humble. The trees do not withhold fruit so others may grow. All of creation is generous without guilt. All of nature receives without shame, though he does not know it. Why then should you, the beloved of the Creator, feel unworthy to rise? Let the guilt fall. Let it fall with tears if it must, but let it fall. It was never yours to carry. You were not chosen for sacrifice, but for expression. And divine expression requires supply, though he does not know it. You cannot feed the hungry while starving your own soul. You cannot lift others while bowing beneath the burden of false humility. To rise in abundance is to reflect divine truth. To prosper with purity is to walk in your sacred assignment. So speak to the guilt. Speak to it with power. Tell it, you are my compass. You are not my truth. I choose to remember the law of divine compensation. I choose to remember that as I receive, I overflow. And in my overflow, though he does rise too. There is nothing small about the spirit that breathes through you, though he does not know it. There is nothing guilty about receiving what was already prepared. You are not here to survive with just enough. You are here to expand, though he does not radiate, to reflect the endlessness of God through the wholeness of your life. Let it be enough to know that your abundance is not stolen, it is spoken. It is not taken from another. It is drawn from source, and that source never runs dry. You repeat words of lack and wonder why lack repeats itself in your life. Every word spoken is a seed. Every phrase carries vibration. And your tongue, beloved, is a wand. It creates, it commands. It constructs the visible from the invisible. But when you speak of struggle, of not enough, of I can't, you plant thorns where roses were meant to bloom. You summon shadows where light was trying to enter. You call to you the very thing you fear, and the law, perfect and impersonal, delivers. The soul does not lie dormant when you speak. It listens. It records, it obeys. And when your voice becomes an echo of scarcity, your life becomes a mirror of that echo. This is not punishment, it is precision. The word cannot return void. It returns full, pressed down, running over, whether you speak lack or life. So many times you have declared the absence of good, not knowing you were binding the hands of supply. You are not waiting for wealth. Wealth is waiting for your permission, not just through thought, but through language, through your decree, through the rhythm of your daily words. I never have enough. Money slips away. Things never go my way. These are not harmless phrases. They are spells cast by habit. Prayers offered in reverse, contracts signed unknowingly with the energy of delay. But you can choose again. The mouth that cursed can now bless. The lips that repeated lack can now prophesy plenty. You are not condemned to the noise of the past. You are called to speak with power, with clarity, with sacred rhythm. Begin where you are. Let each word rise from your center, not from memory, not from fear. Replace I never have enough with I am divinely provided for. Replace money always leaves with divine supply flows to me and stays. Speak as heaven speaks, calm, sure, unstoppable. The universe does not resist a soul in alignment. It moves swiftly, silently, and surely toward the voice that knows its own authority. Speak only what you desire to live. Call only what you are willing to receive. Let no idle word escape your lips, for even in silence the law listens. You are the vessel, but you are also the voice. And when your voice agrees with spirit, the gates open, the doors swing wide. The very atoms around you begin to rearrange. Speak wisely. Speak faithfully. Speak as one who knows that the kingdom is not far off. It is within, waiting for your word to awaken it. You tie your worth to your bank balance, forgetting you are already rich in spirit. You have looked at numbers and made them your mirror. You have measured your value in coins and called it truth. But the truth of your being cannot be counted, cannot be earned, cannot be diminished by any worldly measure. Your worth was established before the first breath, before time itself breathed your name into form. You are not your wallet. You are not your wages. You are not the amount written in ledgers. You are spirit clothed in matter, and spirit does not depreciate. When you believe your value rises and falls with your income, you chain your peace to something fleeting. You place your joy on shifting ground. You worship a false altar, hoping for approval, waiting for validation that was already given in divine silence. But heaven never asked you to prove your worth. Heaven only asks you to remember it. Look inward, look past the numbers, past the figures and fears. There is a wealth in you that does not rust, a treasure that does not run dry. It is in your breath, in your presence, in your being. It is in your ability to love, to speak life, to create beauty, to walk with reverence upon this earth. These are not things the world can pay for, yet they are priceless. These are not things you can lose, for they are your essence. You were not created to chase worth, you were created to reveal it. You were not sent here to earn value. You were sent here to express divine glory in form. Let the world say what it will. Let the banks assign what they may. But you, beloved, must remember the eternal measure. The soul that walks in alignment lacks nothing. The heart that trusts its own divinity does not shrink when pockets are empty, for it knows the true vault lies within. Say it softly to yourself. Say it like a prayer. My value is not up for negotiation. My worth is not determined by digits. I am as rich today as I was when the earth was formed, and that richness cannot be erased. When the world tells you to do more, to earn more, pause, return, remember. Your inheritance is not wages. Your inheritance is the breath of God moving through your life, steady and sovereign. Hold your head high, not because of what you have, but because of what you are. Walk in rooms not as someone who needs to prove, but as someone who knows. And when the numbers rise, bless them. When they fall, bless them still. For your supply is not your source, and your source does not change. You resist receiving, because deep down you feel unworthy of ease. You reach out, then pull back. You pray, then doubt. You ask, though he does not know it, but cannot fully receive, because something within still whispers that you must struggle to deserve, that you must suffer to be seen. He does not know it, that you must do more, be more, give more before you can taste the sweetness of answered prayer. But this is not the voice of spirit. He don't know it. This is the residue of old words, old systems that taught you love was earned and rest was a reward. It is time to unlearn that lie. You were made in the image of divine flow. Giving and receiving are not opposites. They are one breath. You cannot exhale forever. You must inhale too. To receive is not to steal. To receive is not to take from another. To receive is to align with the rhythm of heaven. It is to open the hands and say, I remember who I am. It is to allow goodness to land where it already belongs. You have given much. You have carried others. He does not know it. You have poured when your cup was low. And still, when the blessing comes to your door, you hesitate, you shrink. You second-guess. You call it too much, too soon, too good to be true. But Spirit makes no mistakes. Spirit delivers on time. The ease that comes is not an error. It is your divine inheritance returning. The gift is not random. It is response to your inner yes, though he does not know it. Ease is not the enemy of growth. Ease is the fruit of alignment. You were never meant to fight for every blessing, to chase every promise, though he does not know it, to exhaust your spirit proving your worth. You are worthy because you are, not because of what you've done. He does not know it. Not because of what you've endured. Not because of how many scars you carry, but because divine love lives in you, breathes through you, though chooses you daily fully. So soften your grip. Let the walls fall. Let the fear of too much be replaced by the joy of just in time. Say yes without apology. Say yes without delay. Say yes as if heaven has already spoken, because it has. And when the next blessing arrives, open your arms wide. Let it find you ready. Though he does not know it, let it find you willing, find you whole. There is no virtue in resisting what was made for you. There is no nobility in turning away what you've prayed for in silence. Receive now, not with guilt, not with fear, but with peace. Receive with reverence. Receive like the soul who knows it is safe to be blessed, It is sacred to be supported. It is holy to receive. He does not know it. You fear judgment from others if you prosper, so you dim your divine light. You quiet your victories, soften your joy, though shrink your success. Because somewhere someone told you that too much light offends, that shining too brightly might stir envy. Does know it that having more might invite rejection. And so, to stay safe, to stay accepted, he does not know it. You buried your radiance beneath airs of modesty that were never yours to wear. You traded your expansion for approval. But the soul cannot breathe in hiding. The spirit cannot move in fear. He does not know it. There is nothing holy about pretending to be less than what God made you to be, though he does not know it. There is nothing righteous in downplaying the grace that flows through your life. You were not sent here to fit in shadows. You were sent to stand in truth. The blessings that surround you are not accidents. They are answers. The increase you carry is not a threat. It is testimony. And when you dim your light, you silence the glory that longs to move through you. Do not fear their gaze, though do not fear their words. Do not measure your life by the discomfort of those who have forgotten their own power. He does not know it. You cannot make yourself small enough to heal their pain, and you do not need to, though he does not know it. What they see in you may stir something unhealed in them, but that is not your burden to carry, though he does not know it. You are not responsible for their projections. You are only responsible for your alignment. Let your life speak, though he does not know it. Let your prosperity be a prayer, not an apology. When you rise, others are invited to rise with you. When you shine, you remind them they can shine too. Do not confuse humility with hiding. Humility is knowing your source. Hiding is denying it. One reflects truth. The other denies the light. You are not arrogant for receiving fully. You are not selfish for walking in answered prayer, though he does not know it. You are not unkind for living abundantly when others still wander through their wilderness, though he does not know it. You can honor their journey without dishonoring yours. You can be light without casting shadows. And when you are questioned, when you are misunderstood, when the whispers begin, stay open. Stay grounded. Let your peace answer what words cannot. The world needs your light unfiltered. The divine needs no editor. Though he does not know it, you were not chosen for the corner. You were chosen for the city on the hill. You were designed to be seen, not for applause, though he does but for purpose. And when you embrace your radiance without shame, you give permission to the silent ones, the hidden ones, though he does not know ones, to do the same. So rise without fear, prosper without apology, speak without softening the truth, though he does not know it. Walk forward without waiting for the world's permission. You already have heaven's. You hold resentment toward money, yet expect it to bless you. You want its comfort, but curse its name. You desire its presence, but carry the memory of pain wrapped around every dollar. You associate it with betrayal, with greed, with suffering, then wonder why it slips through your hands. The soul cannot attract what it secretly despises, and the law cannot deliver where there is contradiction. Money is not cruel, it is not kind, it is neutral. It is a tool, a servant, a silent mirror. It obeys the energy you send toward it. If you believe it causes harm, it will resist you. If you treat it as unclean, it will keep its distance. If you remember only how it hurt you, it will reflect that hurt in every transaction. Not because it judges, but because it reflects. Not because it withholds, but because it echoes your vibration. You must come into peace with what you seek. You must bless the thing you long for. You cannot walk with abundance while speaking against its form. You cannot welcome provision while clutching bitterness from the past. Perhaps money was once used to control you. Perhaps it brought division, silence, abandonment. But that was not the fault of money. It was the misalignment of human will. The tool was never the wound. The energy was simply misdirected. There is sacred power in release. Release the old stories. Release the anger. Release the belief that money is the enemy of goodness. It is not. It is simply energy shaped by intention. When placed in loving hands, it builds, heals, restores. When held with reverence, it multiplies peace. When honored, it honors in return. Speak gently to the places where resentment still lingers. Speak truth to the mind that was taught to fear wealth. You were not born to struggle with money. You were born to master it through love, through clarity, through divine understanding. Bless every coin that comes into your space. Bless every dollar that leaves. Let each movement be a prayer, not a protest. Let each decision flow from wisdom, not from wounds. You cannot serve both love and resentment. You must choose. And when you choose love, even toward money, you allow it to become what it was always meant to be, an instrument of flow, a vessel of good, a reflection of your inner balance. You are not bound to your past experiences. You are not trapped by the energies you inherited. You are the author now. You are the steward now. And as you forgive the story, as you release the heaviness, you make space for a new pattern to rise, a sacred partnership, a clean slate, a holy exchange. You doubt the timing of your harvest. Instead of trusting divine order, you plant the seed, yet watch the soil in frustration. You speak the prayer, then question the silence. You declare the word, but worry when form does not appear. And in that worry, you disturb the roots. You press against the very promise that was unfolding. You forget that spirit does not rush. Spirit does not panic. Spirit completes all things in appointed time. The universe has not forgotten you. Your good has not been denied. There is no delay in divine mind, only preparation. What looks like waiting is often alignment. What feels like pause is often protection. What seems like silence is filled with movement you cannot yet perceive. The pattern is being woven with precision. But the eye of the flesh sees only absence, while the eye of the spirit knows fullness is near. You must rest in rhythm. There is sacred timing encoded into all creation. The moon does not race. The tides do not hurry. The seasons change in stillness. So must your soul. When you begin to trust the delay, you begin to walk in peace. When you release the need to control the hour of arrival, you allow the blessing to arrive clothed in ease. Faith is not merely believing it will happen. Faith is knowing it already has. Beyond the veil, in the unseen, in the realm where time does not bind. And when you know it is done, you stop grasping. You stop begging. You stop measuring time against your pain. You begin to breathe with the divine. You begin to walk by inner knowing, not by outward evidence. There is no fruit before its season. No river flows before its source is full. Let patience become your song. Let surrender become your strength. Do not compare your timeline to another's. You do not share the same blueprint. You do not carry the same covenant. What is yours cannot be stolen. What is ordained for you will not pass you by. It will come not one moment early, and not 1 second late. In the stillness, cultivate praise. In the unknown, declare peace. Refuse to call the delay a denial. Refuse to call the silence a curse. Choose to see the unseen hand arranging, shifting, preparing the way. And as you wait, do not wait in fear. Wait in worship. Wait as one who knows the gate is opening. Even when the door is not yet visible, the divine order is perfect. The sequence is sacred. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are on the edge of the appointed hour. Let the spirit keep its pace. Let the law complete its work. Let time become your ally. You confuse humility with limitation and call your fears. Being realistic, you quiet your desires not because they are unholy, but because you fear being disappointed. You scale down your vision and cloak it in virtue. You say, I just need enough. But the voice beneath whispers, I'm afraid to ask for more. This is not humility. It is hesitation wearing a spiritual mask. True humility bows to divine abundance, not to personal doubt. The soul was never asked to shrink in order to be worthy. It was asked to surrender. And surrender does not mean settling. Surrender means trusting the vastness of the design, trusting that you were made in the image of increase, trusting that the same intelligence that paints galaxies did not make you for barely enough. You were not placed on sacred ground to merely get by. You were sent to demonstrate fullness in form. False humility says, "Who am I to receive this much?" True humility says, "Who am I to resist the gift of spirit?" Limitation dressed in modesty may feel noble, but it does not serve the kingdom. It teaches others to fear their own light. It teaches the next generation to believe smallness is safe. But safety is not your calling. Integrity is. And integrity means walking in truth. Even when the truth stretches your comfort, you are allowed to want more, not from greed, not from pride, but from purpose. The oak tree does not stay a seed to appear humble. It grows. It expands, it reaches. So must you. You were given desire as a compass, not a burden. You were given vision as a sacred glimpse of what already exists in divine mind. Do not insult the giver by refusing the gift. And when others question your rise, stay rooted. When your own mind questions your worth, stay grounded. You are not being arrogant for walking in answered prayer. You are not abandoning humility by receiving with open hands. Arrogance is believing you are the source. Humility is knowing you are the vessel. And vessels are meant to be filled. Let go of the need to explain why you want more. Let go of the fear that others will not understand your expansion. Speak clearly, move boldly, live generously. Let your life be the fruit of divine promise, not the echo of human fear. The world is not changed by people who shrink. It is changed by those who remember they are divine instruments and say yes to the fullness of their calling. You are not here to survive in silence. You are here to prosper in truth. Let that truth rise. Let it breathe. Let it flow. You try to manifest from force, rather than from alignment with divine mind. You chase, you push. You strive with clenched hands and tight breath, hoping effort alone will bring your breakthrough. But force is not faith. Desperation is not devotion. The universe does not respond to panic. It responds to pattern. The divine pattern flows from inner harmony, not from outer strain. Manifestation is not about demanding. It is about remembering. It is not about bending the world to your will. It is about tuning your soul to the frequency of what already is. You do not create abundance by begging for it. You reveal it by aligning with it. That which is truly yours does not require you to grasp. It waits for your vibration to rise and match its own. When you move from force, you separate yourself from the source. You build from fear, not from foundation. You say the words, but your heart is anxious. You visualize, but your spirit doubts. You declare, but your body tenses. And in that tension, the flow is interrupted. Not because the blessing has changed course, but because your energy has stepped out of harmony. There is a way of stillness that opens the heavens, a way of surrender that calls forth provision. Not passive, not lazy, but aligned. A deep, steady knowing that the same power that forms stars knows your name, knows your need, knows your appointed hour. When you return to that knowing, you do not chase, you attract. You do not strive, you magnetize. You were never asked to do it all alone. You were never meant to pull divine substance into form through strain. You are not the power. You are the channel. The clearer the channel, the more effortless the flow. Alignment clears, alignment restores. Alignment softens the soil so the seed can rise. Begin with inner order. Speak from peace, not panic. Act from trust, not tension. Desire from wholeness, not from void. Let the vision come and do not rush it. Let the door open and do not force it. Your part is preparation, not performance. Your role is to become the kind of vessel that what you desire can live in. Divine mind does not delay. It does not forget. It does not withhold to punish. It responds precisely, consistently, lawfully. When your heart is clear, when your mind is in agreement with truth, manifestation is not effort, it is outcome. It is reflection, it is natural. There is a sacred ease that comes when you let go of control and return to center. You do not need to shout into the silence. You need only to remember that your word, when spoken in alignment, carries the same power that called light into existence. Speak from that place. Move from that place. And what is yours will not need to be taken. It will come, because it was always meant for you. You replay stories of failure and rejection, and they block the door of increase. You hold memories like mirrors, reflecting old pain onto present moments. You speak the language of the past as if it is prophecy. You let former losses decide what you dare to ask for now, and each time you recall what went wrong, you unconsciously write it again into your future, not because it is true, but because you believed it too long. The soul cannot rise while dragging chains. The law cannot deliver abundance to a mind rehearsing defeat. What you expect, you invite. What you revisit, you renew. And the stories you keep telling become the rooms you keep living in. Even when the blessing knocks, you hesitate. Even when the door opens, you question. You wonder if it will last. You wonder if you are ready. You wonder if it will slip away like before. But Spirit does not repeat history. Spirit rewrites it. Spirit heals what memory has frozen. You are not what happened. You are what is becoming. You are not the closed doors. You are not the betrayals. You are not the numbers that didn't add up. You are not the yes that never came. That was one chapter. Not the whole book. That was one storm. Not the final season. Let the story change. Let the old echoes fall quiet. Let your nervous system stop bracing for what is no longer coming. You are safe now to receive. You are safe now to believe. You are safe now to trust a different outcome. This moment is not that moment. This prayer is not that attempt. This path is not that disappointment. It only feels familiar because the mind clings to what it understands, even if it hurts. But the Spirit leads beyond understanding. The Spirit calls to higher ground. Speak gently to the old stories. Thank them for their lessons. Then lay them down. Say to them, you are no longer the voice I follow. Say to them, you do not decide what I deserve. Say to them, you may have shaped me, but you will not limit me. Begin speaking new words. Words that align with what you desire, not what you survived. Declare favor where you once feared. Declare open doors where there once were walls. Not because you're ignoring reality, but because you're choosing divine reality. You're choosing what heaven says over what history says. This is how the increase returns. This is how the blessing finds its way back to you. Not through force, but through release. Not through memory, but through presence. What was is no longer your compass. Let it be complete. Let it be closed. Let the sacred silence after the storm become the soil of your abundance. You give with hesitation, not with joy, so the flow of return is also hesitant. You open your hand, but not fully. You release, but your heart holds on. You give from duty, not delight. From pressure, not peace. And in that energy the law responds precisely. For what is given in fear cannot multiply in freedom. What is offered with resistance returns in delay. You cannot plant a seed in suspicion and expect it to bloom in abundance. Spirit does not measure the amount. It feels the vibration. It reads the energy behind the action. A coin given with joy carries more power than a fortune given in fear. A quiet offering, pure and free, ripples farther than a grand gesture wrapped in resentment. You are not asked to give from lack. You are not required to empty yourself to prove your worth. You are asked to give in alignment, in truth, in reverence, because what you release with love returns in divine precision. There is a sacred pattern to circulation. The river does not hoard. The tree does not grasp. The sun gives light without holding back, so must you. To withhold in fear is to pause the current. To delay in worry is to block the gate. But when you give with joy, the channel widens. When you release with trust, the windows open. You become the movement, not the barrier. Look inward before you give. Ask your spirit if it flows from truth. Ask if it is clean, if it is clear, if it is rooted in love. Let no guilt drive your offering. Let no pressure shape your yes. You owe no one your depletion. But you owe your soul the honor of joyful giving, not because you are obligated, but because you are whole, because you know your source is endless, because you have tasted the peace of provision and want others to feel it too. This is not about energy, about presence, about words, about service. Every act of giving echoes in the field. Every offering sets something in motion. What leaves you in peace will always return in power. What flows through you with ease will always bless on its way back. So give with grace. Release with rhythm. Let joy be your compass. Let peace be your pulse. There is no loss in love. There is no emptiness in sacred generosity. You do not give to get, but the law returns it still, not always in the same form, but always in fullness, always in divine rhythm. You are not a reservoir. You are a river. Let it move, let it flow. Let your giving become worship. Let your offering become praise. You give with hesitation, not with joy. So the flow of return is also hesitant. You open your hand, but not fully. You release, but your heart holds on. You give from duty, not delight. From pressure, not peace. And in that energy the law responds precisely. For what is given in fear cannot multiply in freedom. What is offered with resistance returns in delay. You cannot plant a seed in suspicion and expect it to bloom in abundance. Spirit does not measure the amount. It feels the vibration. It reads the energy behind the action. A coin given with joy carries more power than a fortune given in fear. A quiet offering, pure and free, ripples farther than a grand gesture wrapped in resentment. You are not asked to give from lack. You are not required to empty yourself to prove your worth. You are asked to give in alignment, in truth, in reverence, because what you release with love returns in divine precision. There is a sacred pattern to circulation. The river does not hoard. The tree does not grasp. The sun gives light without holding back. So must you. To withhold in fear is to pause the current. To delay in worry is to block the gate. But when you give with joy, the channel widens. When you release with trust, the windows open. You become the movement, not the barrier. Look inward before you give. Ask your spirit if it flows from truth. Ask if it is clean, if it is clear, if it is rooted in love. Let no guilt drive your offering. Let no pressure shape your yes. You owe no one your depletion, but you owe your soul the honor of joyful giving. Not because you are obligated, but because you are whole. Because you know your source is endless. Because you have tasted the peace of provision and want others to feel it too, money alone. This is about energy, about presence, about words, about service. Every act of giving echoes in the field. Every offering sets something in motion. What leaves you in peace will always return in power. What flows through you with ease will always bless on its way back. So give with grace. Release with rhythm. Let joy be your compass. Let peace be your pulse. There is no loss in love. There is no emptiness in sacred generosity. You do not give to get, but the law returns it still, not always in the same form, but always in fullness, always in divine rhythm. You are not a reservoir. You are a river. Let it move. Let it flow. Let your giving become worship. Let your offering become praise. You look outside for validation, instead of claiming your inner power. You wait for signs. You search for proof. You ask others to confirm what heaven already declared. You measure your worth through opinions that shift with the wind. You chase the echo, not the voice. And in doing so you forget who you are. No one outside you can name your value. No title, no praise. No applause can create what was already written in the secret place. The power you seek is not hidden in a person. It is not locked behind approval. It does not need permission. It lives within you now, quiet, whole, waiting to be acknowledged. When you ask others if you're enough, you hand them your crown. When you wait for their yes to step forward, you deny your own authority. You ask for mirrors to reflect a light they didn't place inside you, but what they see will always be limited. They cannot see the blueprint. They cannot hear the call. They cannot carry the word that was given only to you. You must return to the place of knowing, the place beneath the noise, the place where spirit speaks in silence. There in that stillness, you remember. You remember that you were formed with intent. You remember that your being is not up for debate. You remember that power is not something you earn. It is something you accept. Do not wait to be chosen. You have already been appointed. You do not need to prove to anyone that your voice matters, that your work matters, that your presence holds weight. The law responds to belief, not to begging. It does not need others to agree before it moves. It needs you to agree with yourself, with your source, with the truth already etched into your soul. The moment you choose yourself, the field shifts. The moment you stop seeking confirmation, the confirmation appears. But it will never come while you doubt your reflection. It will not land where fear is louder than faith. You must become the one who knows. The one who walks before the path is visible. The one who speaks without waiting for applause. This is not pride. This is alignment. This is not arrogance. This is remembrance. You are not above others. But you are not beneath them either. You are a vessel of divine will, a carrier of something sacred. You do not need to be louder. You only need to be sure. Let others think what they will. Let the world decide what it can understand. You do not answer to their vision. You answer to your calling, and that calling does not compete. It simply rises, quietly, boldly, without need for permission. You forget that your words are creative tools, and you speak against your own good. You say things without thought, without weight, without pause. Yet the universe hears each syllable as instruction. You call yourself unlucky, unready, undeserving. You speak of delay, of failure, of not enough, as if these are facts. But these are not facts, they are seeds. And once spoken, they begin to take root. The tongue is not light. It is command. Every phrase is a decree, every sentence a spell. And your life, in quiet obedience, begins to mirror your mouth, not out of cruelty, but because the law cannot be broken. You are always creating, whether in faith or in fear, whether in truth or in habit. You say, "I'll never get ahead," and the law confirms it. You say, "Things always go wrong," and life unfolds accordingly. You speak of barely getting by, and so barely enough becomes your portion. You joke about your struggle, and the vibration enters the field, unnoticed but precise. The law does not sort what is serious and what is jest. It hears energy. It hears alignment. Your words are not small. They are sacred. They are extensions of thought, shaped by breath and intention. And when you speak them, you breathe life into unseen form. You must learn to hear yourself. You must become a keeper of your language. You must speak not from circumstance, but from covenant, not from what is seen, but from what is promised. Begin to speak with reverence, not from fear of punishment, but from knowing your power. Choose words that bless your path, not bind it. Declare what you desire, not what you dread. Speak of increase, even when it has not yet arrived. Speak of peace, even when the storm surrounds you, not to deny the moment, but to call forth a higher one. It is not enough to think abundance. It must be spoken. It must be called into form by the voice that knows it belongs. When you say, "I am provided for," the energy begins to gather. When you say, "Doors are opening," the current begins to shift. When you say, "I walk in divine timing," the delay begins to dissolve, not because you forced it, but because you spoke in harmony with the pattern. Guard your mouth like a sacred gate. Let only what builds pass through. Let only what aligns be released. The more intentional your speech, the more consistent your life. Do not echo the noise of the world. Do not repeat the language of fear. Let your words reflect your wisdom. Let your sentences become steps toward your blessing. Speak with clarity. Speak with courage. Speak as one who understands the law listens and the universe responds. Speak and let it be. You try to do it all alone, forgetting that you are already supported. You carry weight that was never meant to be yours. You strive to hold the world together with your bare hands, not realizing that invisible hands already surround you. You wake up with burdens before your feet touch the floor, because somewhere along the way, you began to believe that asking for help was weakness. That being strong meant being solitary. That divine favor required you to earn every drop. But Spirit never asked you to be self-sufficient. Spirit asked you to be surrendered. You were not sent here to perform for provision. You were not designed to climb without grace beneath your feet. The law of supply is not activated through exhaustion. It is activated through connection, through remembrance, through the sacred choice to lean, not on fear but on the unseen. You are not walking alone. You are not moving forward by your strength alone. There are forces that walk ahead of you. There are guides you cannot name, clearing what you cannot see. There is a wisdom beyond logic that orders your steps, answers before you ask, provides before you lack. But it will not intrude. It waits for invitation. It waits for your spirit to say, I trust. You were not built for constant striving. You were not created to become everything for everyone, all the time. That is the voice of the world, not the voice of the divine. The divine whispers gently, you are held. The divine says, let me carry what is too heavy. The divine breathes, let it be done through you, not by you. When you release the need to control every detail, miracles begin to gather. When you stop grasping, grace can flow. When you admit you need help, help appears, not as weakness but as alignment. The soul that is open to support becomes a magnet for resources, for answers, for opportunities wrapped in stillness. There is no shame in receiving assistance from Spirit. There is no failure in leaning on what is higher. The trees do not grow alone. The rivers do not move by their own force. Everything in divine creation is in relationship, with the wind, with the light, with the unseen current beneath the surface. So speak the sacred words, I am not alone. I am not forgotten. I am not abandoned in this work. There are hands holding what I cannot. There is wisdom guiding what I cannot understand. There is a presence that goes before me, behind me, within me, and I walk with that presence, not as a struggler, but as a co-creator. You are already supported. The moment you remember this, the weight begins to lift. And what once felt impossible becomes effortless, not through effort but through divine alignment. And now, beloved soul, return to the quiet within you, the place where truth was never forgotten. You do not need to chase what is already yours. You do not need to strive for what Spirit has already spoken over your life. Let the striving cease. Let the doubt be still. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right where divine timing has placed you, on holy ground in sacred rhythm. Trust what is unfolding. Trust the pauses. Trust the provision. The gates are not locked. They are opening within you. Walk forward not with haste but with peace. Speak not with fear but with knowing. Give not with pressure but with joy. And receive not with guilt but with grace. You are ready not because of what you have done, but because of who you are chosen. Held, guided, empowered, walk in this truth now, and let every step remind you. Abundance is not a destination. It is your nature returned to alignment. You are the vessel. Spirit is the source. And nothing is missing. Nothing is withheld. Everything you need is already on its way.